Hello everybody, sorry I'm a few minutes late again. I've been chasing around trying to desperately find my watercolour paper, and when as many of you will know how I've been out on a real big tidy up and spring clean and sorting out, and it was only just now that I realised where I'd put them. So organised. I put them in a container that I've got all my class things ready for when I get back from Holes. And yeah, so I panicked and got in there, and I have everything ready, I think, apart from the cardstock. We'll decide what colours in a minute. And take a deep breath. Hi Shaz, nice to see you. I'm sure there'll be a few more people coming on here soon. I nearly changed my mind and did one of the kits, but then I decided no, because I'm going to try and go live with you from holiday. So I'm taking a gimbal with me, which has got like a tripod. So I'm going to try and see what I can do. It won't be quite the same setup, but hey, let's give it a go and see what we can do. So let's switch the cameras down, get you on here. And who else have I got? Jane, hello Jane, nice to see you. Jane, I found the stays on as well, because in my watercolour class box that's so well organised and in the cupboard and put away nicely for when I return, two stays on ink pads are sitting in that box as well. Okay, so mystery solved on that count, so at least you know that one. So I have the annual catalogue here. So the headline came up as being going to show you the layers of beauty. Now, just going to take a brief minute just to go through this with you. Layers of Beauty is lovely. It's part of a sweet collection. It is the stamp set here. It is the dies that go with it. And then we have the series of masks. I'm not going to show you the mask today. I'm going to show you a quick technique that you might like, just a little bit different. Again, because everything's out of the table. Jane popped in to help me, and her husband was doing some work for me today, and I showed her this technique, and I just thought it would be really nice to do this tonight. So we're going slightly off-piste. That would be good fun, which the watercolour class, Shaz, you'll have to come down here more often. Look, jump on that train and get down here. Not for the next 2 weeks though. So Layers of Beauty, I keep my dies in here, so they're all marked up in here. Now remember, they were, I've seen them, I know where they are, just one moment. There's a good reason. So when I said to you I was sure that I bought them, I had bought them. I had loaned them to one of my team members, and she returned them on Monday and said, I've got your set. So anyway, these are the dies. They live in here. But what I do like to do when they're brand new, before they get used, I stick them in the photocopier. Now, this has played really well into my hands recently. When it appeared we'd lost one. So when you have a photocopy of them, all I do here, when they're on the board, the sticky board, before we put them on the magnets, and just take those outside scruffy bits off. Then come here, just along there, cut that piece off. There's a piece of scrap paper, and just trim it down neatly. And then what I do is I keep this in my stamp case. Then if you've dropped one on the floor, or you can't find one is missing, you always know where the rest of the set is in here. You can just have a look in here. Oops, all fingers and thumbs again, look. So we're going to pop that under here, like so. Okay, the magnets will be in here as well, so that will cover that. But it's always in the case, just in the sleeve there, as a reference point, so that when you can't find one, yeah, oh yeah, live on holiday, yes, hopefully. Yeah, I've put the dies in there now. I will get these mounted onto magnet, but they're not done at the moment, so we'll just go with this. So I'm going to use this large image on here. But I want to just jump you back to the catalogue, because it might be slightly confusing, because we have two sets now like this. We have this lovely floral set, but we still have the Enduring Beauty. It held over, it's in the Encore section, I think they've called it, yeah, Encore in the catalogue. And here we've got all the dies and the stamps that have carried over from either the annual catalogue or the mini catalogue. So if you're looking for has this carried over. This is your section to go, Encore, on page 74. Okay, so we have got it here. All the yellow highlight ones are ones that I own. So this is a lovely one as well. I have shown you this in the past. The greetings aren't really my cup of tea, but I bought it for the one flower. Now the flower we're going to use tonight, I think it's totally different again. It's quite dainty. So I'm going to peel this off here. There's one big lump like so. And I was looking for my watercolour paper because it does work better with what I'm going to do tonight. So I have my Stamparatus here. I know we don't sell this anymore. It is one of those products. There are other manufacturers that do something similar, not as good as what we had. It is a huge shame, but we do have the big acrylic blocks. Okay, so that would fit on there if you wanted to do that. So there is, we still have the tools to be able to use what we're selling. So I'm going to place this on a piece of watercolour, Fluid 100 watercolour paper. I stack mine in one of the stamp cases. I think I've mentioned before that you can purchase these. They come in a pack of 4, but with my customers, if they just buy something and they want to put that in that case, I will sell them individually as part of their order. So I'm going to just test this before I put the magnets on. Leave you one each side so you don't jump together. And where did I just stick that? On the back of the case. Okay, so I just want to see, I'm going to die cut this, but I just want to see if I can use as little of this as I can. So I think I might do it that way round, and I might even find that I might be able to get nearly a whole one in that way. I don't want to go too close to the hinges on here, so I am going to just bring that round slightly just so it gets on that card. There we go. Now we can get the magnets on. Hold that down nice and firmly. Pick that up. I have my puck. Good morning. Sounds really funny saying good morning. Live on holiday. The time zone, we are going to, tomorrow, we're leaving tomorrow. Our house sitter has the keys and will be coming in. She's one of my fellow crafters, that's Julie. And another mutual friend is coming to join her halfway through as well for a few days. So my craft room will be used. So I'm expecting some nice photos from here to make me feel at home and to see what they're up to. So as with the Stamparatus, it's got little rubber feet, but we do like to pop a case underneath here to keep it flat. So because I'm going to watercolour this tonight, I'm going back to a little bit more of the watercolour lesson that we started, and I'm going to put this all over with the StazOn, because StazOn is the ink of choice when you're going to put water to it. I love my Memento, which I threw over here. The Memento black ink, this is particularly good for the Stampin' Blends, so the alcohol markers, really good for that. If you use this for watercolouring, you can bleed a little bit of that black in. So when I'm doing something like this, have a quick sniff. Almonds, yeah, marzipan, fabulous, lovely smell. Because I'm using it on Stamparatus, obviously I can stamp this more than once. Drat, I'm going to do this twice. So I will stamp this on here for you first. But then I'm going to show you another way, the way I was doing today with Jane. I got too carried away and too excited that I'd found my StazOn. So I'm going to just make sure that this doesn't lift with the magnets. Okay, so that's not terribly good at the moment. It is sticky on here. The polymer stamp hasn't been used that much. I think Helen only stamped a couple of pieces. So get this primed a little bit. Yeah, Shaz, I haven't caught up to see how you were doing. You had a hospital trip as well, didn't you? There we go. That's still. I'm going to do one more layer on here. I want you to see the comparison. So this was a happy accident to get carried away with StazOn. Okay. A little bit more pressure in the areas you want more ink. So there is one. Okay, that's better. It's a good clear image now. So I'm going to take that one out, And this will tell me if I'm going to be able to get this on here together. Now I'm going to clean this. And I think I said before, if you clean the ink off here, you will still be able to see that it has had ink on it. It is a permanent ink. We do have a product called a Stays-On Cleaner that I've had for years, and I hardly ever use it. If you give this a good clean straight away, like I've just done, and not leave it on, I do know people who don't clean their stamps until the next time they use them, which I kind of think, well, you're going to clean it at some point, so you might as well just do it at the same time. But you can see nearly all of this is coming off. I'm just giving this a good scrub with the Simply Chamois, and it is coming off. I don't mind, as long as I know that it's cleaned, I really don't mind too much if it's still got a little fleck of black, because it's just a stain, like our polymer stamps do stain a little bit. Okay, I think that's nice and clean. And just dab that with my kitchen paper. There you go. More antibiotics. Let's hope they cut in, Shaz, and get you better soon. So I wanted to give this a different kind of feel. That's not going to go on there, is it? I'll use this piece for something else and grab another piece out of the box. Okay, bring that one out. They are very thick, these sheets. They are cold press fluid 100. They're specifically for our watercolouring. So we want that a good hold with the magnets, but not in the way of the ink. So that will do me nicely. So I'm going to stamp this twice today. I have my smoky slate and I have basic grey. We did both today, and my basic grey could do with a re-ink. So I think there's not much in it really. So this will be a bit paler. We're going to stamp it with this one. So this is a water-based ink. So you're thinking a water-based ink and you're going to put watercolour on it. Drat. Just remembered something else I need to bring to the table. So we'll get this stamped off first. So it is stained a little bit on here with the black, but on the whole it's a good stamp there. Okay, so we've got a nice outline here. Stamp it again to give it a good colour covering. Bring that over there. Okay, I might just go one more. I want it to be nice and clear. Although, like we say, nature isn't perfect, it's not immaculate. There we go. And I'm quite happy with that. So now I'm going to take that away, put that away, and I'm going to clean that water-based ink off here. Okay, leaving this exactly where it is. Don't be tempted to take it out and put it back in again. Even though the magnets hold it down, I never trust to line up 100%. So dab that over. Now I'm going to get, she says, she had it this afternoon and she has everything else. There it is, hiding. So this is my Versamark ink pad, and I'm going to go over this with Versamark. I'm going to stamp over the top of it, so I want a good covering. So the Versamark will go all over this ink. Okay, so we'll pop that on there, double layer. Okay. And because it's a large area, if you want to go over with the second coat, you can. So just do exactly the same again. Okay, move that out of the way. Stamp that. Right, I'm going to take this out. This is all still wet with the tacky ink from the Versamark. So now I'm going to pop that out of the way as well. And I'm grabbing my piece of grid paper with the clear embossing powder. And I'm just going to lay this over the top and find the clear. That is clear. Okay, so now I'm just going to sprinkle this with the clear embossing powder. I said to Jane I'd probably do this on a live, and I thought, well, actually, there's no time like the present, actually, while it's all in my head. So I'm just going to tap that powder off. Let's say this is really thick card, it's really good. Just flick that on the back, set it aside, tip it back into the pot. and pop the lid back on. So we have that one ready, but my heat gun is over there on the wall. Just a sec. Okay, so now we're just going to switch this on and warm it up, and I'm going to heat this and melt the clear embossing powder. It'll be a bit noisy. I'm just going to get my glasses on. Okay, because I'm on a glass mat, it's heat proof, so it's really good. I'm just bringing it up to my eye level a little bit, and I'm just looking to see when the clear powder turns shiny. And I keep moving my piece of card so I can see the shininess on here, so I'm not overcooking it. It's looking really good. It's going to be hard for you to see this on camera. I'll do my best. A little in there. Dodging to try and see what I've done. Just glistens a little bit when it goes shiny. So I'll switch that off and just have another look and just see what's on there. I think there's some, just going to give it another little blast. So it's difficult to see when you're inking and it's clear. You can't see where the clear ink is. But if I bring this up to the camera, I'm hoping, I don't know how this is going to work, but if you look down in this big piece at the bottom here, you should be able to see on the camera. Can I at this shadow, can I get you to try and see? You're not going to see that. You're going to might have to just take my word for it that the powder has melted, and now we have a clear layer over the top of what we've got. Okay, so now we're going to take the water jar here and my water pencil. Okay, and I have my mat here. So I'm going to take some colours now. I'm going to start with the biggest areas. I've got some yellows here. I'm going to mimic what's in the catalogue. So I will just roughly imitate what we've got in here, just so you can see the actual image come to light. To life, sorry, not light. Flick, flick, flick. I've done two at once. Yeah, this one here. So in the catalogue, I'm going to do something kind of like these colours here. This is how it will end up with the flowers. So I've chosen to do the yellow again, as they have. So I can squeeze this like we did before. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And I must just stress that I do say, when you are watercolouring, just bringing you back in, please don't be tempted to take your water brush. I have seen it a few times. People will take their water brush and they will dip their water brush into the ink pad. All you're doing is transferring water into the pad. I don't know what this is here. It might just be a little bit darker, I'm not sure, but I'm going to leave it well alone. And if you put water on here, you're just going to dilute what's on the pad and you might damage the pad. So I really don't condone that one at all. So please don't be tempted. So just going to dip my nib in there and just pick up some of this. We have water in the reservoir, but sometimes you want that little bit more. So also what I'm going to do is just put a wet layer down. If you colour your image of your flower and you colour with your water, make it nice and wet. When you're using the Fluid 100, it is intended to do exactly that and be wet. So if you colour over that image, now we pick up some of this colour and then work on here. It will run, it will flow much more smoothly. Okay, so we have the water in the brush, but we can pick some more up from there. Okay, I'm going to come back in with a darker yellow. But you're now making, so what we've actually done here is make your watercolour ink waterproof. So that's the whole idea of today's teaching, really, is you're making any watercolour ink waterproof. So you simply stamp the image. Think of other images that you might have in your collection. You're going to stamp your image with a colour. Imagine something like Blackberry Bliss. Okay. Hi, Rhonda. Think of something like Blackberry Bliss. It's a dark ink, but we don't do a Blackberry Bliss embossing powder. So what you need to do is make it waterproof. So the water on here, I'm being quite liberal with this water, and I'm just letting that flow in the image there. Okay. It will take it. It is thick like card, and that is what its job is to do. So I would just do one petal at a time, float your water over it, and make sure it's nice and damp so that you can float your colour over the top. Okay, so that's that flower done. I'm going to do this one next. So again, I'm running out of ink on there. I don't want to take that water onto the ink pad, so I am going to just dry that. But of course, we did talk about other ways of colouring. Now you can take, I know I've got one in here, so I'm going to show you. Any piece of acetate, so this is acetate, this is a laminated grid sheet. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm just going to stamp some ink on there. You can get a bigger coverage of ink if you do this. So you can bring some of that water in here. We've actually got that a darker colour, so you can lighten that down a little bit. And then come in and we're just painting freelance. Dab it on the kitchen roll paper towel if you've got too much ink. I'm just putting a light colour down here. But you can get much more shading with your inks with watercolour, especially on the Fluid 100, because it is fit for purpose. It will stand any amount of water. Okay, so I'm going over these very quickly because I'm conscious I don't want to keep you all night. Okay, we're doing okay. When I come home from holiday, I will do the masks with you. Okay, I just needed to do something. I need some to practice with the masks. There's more of them in this set, and I just want to get to understand them before and use them before I go live with them. Okay, so that's all wet now, just from what's on the brush. Now I'll take it in and pick up a little bit more colour. And I do like to colour in the areas. You might choose to do the outer petals darker, or that little piece in there darker. Whatever you like, it's your piece of artwork. Okay, just to give it some variation. Nature's not perfect, I'm always saying that. Okay, so there are our main focal images. So I can wash the brush, wipe that gently on there, and then we can turn this around and do another piece. So there are some more little flowers, but I think it's going to make it easier to see if we do the greenery first. Absolutely, that's going back a long way, Rhonda. A rose is a rose. I've got a feeling, that is ages ago, I've got a feeling, I want to say that was around when I first signed up 15 years ago. I do really want to. I think it could have been, we had something similar to that, I know, because I didn't wet it again. Look, let me just colour this in. We were in an era when the sign up was very different, and you got certain things given to you in your kit, but you could swap things out. And I swapped out one of the stamp sets for that. I'm sure that was very, very early days. Going back a long while, my dear. So I'm just painting the leaves with the water as it is. I know there's water in my reservoir, but because I'm using the Fluid 100, I really want this to be wet. Okay, and the beauty of heat embossing with the clear embossing powder over the top like this is that you won't bleed that colour. Go back to Blackberry Bliss, it's a good example because it's so dark. We don't do Blackberry Bliss embossing powders, but what we do, I think I've done that one. I'll leave that for now, and then I will pick some ink up. you will waterproof that colour. So if you want to do any colour in our repertoire, you can do that, and then clear emboss over exactly over the top. So you need a stamp positioner for that, really. Okey-doke. And then colour those. I'll add some darkness on there later, but I just want to come in on the areas that I remember I've coloured with the water. Okay, who's still with me? Yes, me as well. Yeah, it is, yeah, a long while ago. In that case, it would have been 2009 for me. You're probably a lot longer in the States. So can you see I'm just using a piece of laminate here? I could do this on my mat. I'm just trying to make life easier for cleaning up afterwards. We leave for the airport tomorrow, so I have got everything laid out. All I've got to do is throw them all in the suitcase. So that's one of my last jobs, I think, to do. Got to do a manicure. I need to take my polish off. That was falling off, that one. It peeled off. So I need to do my nails. So I might just have a quiet evening and then get up early and put them in the case. I've been getting excited about this for ages. I'm really looking forward to it. And I believe we've got a house guest wanting to stay over as well. Our niece and sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and his older daughter and her partner. There's going to be 7 of us in total. It's going to be nice. So I'm just dotting these around. You can see how easy it is. Just pick up the little areas of greenery. I like to start with the biggest images. So in this case, it was the flowers. I've not put a second layer on here yet. I've not put the darker layer on. Just concentrating on getting the colour down on the main. Okay, look. It's a little bit drier. If you want a more concentrated, use a drier brush. Okay, we've got some more over here. So we're going to colour those in. So I have 2 classes dates booked in to do just watercolouring, just this sort of thing. And then when I come back, it's the 20th and the 23rd of June. So now I'm just going to come back in with these darker pieces and just touch in a little bit of the veins and just add some more texture in there. No more water, just add some shading in. Hope that's coming through on the camera. A little bit of veins, just add some extra texture. Okay, some little ones in there I've missed. They can be, buds are always a darker colour, aren't they? Because they're really tight, they're concentrated. More on there. So really it is just a case of playing with it and having fun, really. So the darker colours on here, just want a little bit more coming through on part of it. Little ones in there. Float some more in there. And if I was to leave this on the laminate, you could actually come back and do this again. When I've taught classes before, I have laminated grid sheets, are lovely grid sheets we use for classes. And I laminate a few just for teaching watercolours, and they can dab it like the glass mat would be, just dab the ink pad onto the mat. And I tell them, I get them to turn it over on the back, so they use the back for messy stuff, wipe it down, and then use the front for the nice pretty stuff. So there we go, we're done with those 2 colours. I'm going to turn this around again, and then I'm going to go for my blues. There's only a little tiny little bit of blues. I've got a bright blue here. I'm thinking maybe it might be a misty. I can dilute it down so I can make the misty moonlight. I can make it the dark. Oh, that's very concentrated. Yes, I'll stretch a bit of that So we can put some water with that. Let's choose this area here and just loosen it. Okay. But I can leave these on here. When I come back from holiday, they would still be there, and they would be good to go. So I'm going to just put a little bit of this. I've got some on my brush, so just push that around the water. Maybe a bit too much. Dip it and tap it. So I'm just going to wet that surface first. It's got a little faint colour because I've got some blue on my brush. Hope you can see this. And then a little one over here. And these ones here. You get totally different feelings of these when you effects when you have the masks, the watercolour, and then you can do blends as well. So you've got all different ways of trying to play with this. So now I'm just going to bring this in, and that will bleed into that water that I've already put down. I'm going to avoid the middle because I'm going to put more yellow into the centre when that's dry. I can't really do that now. So pick up a little bit of this, and I just want to do those outside pieces. I think I'm making that a little bit muddy. I need to let one area dry before I actually come on with the darker. So I'll come in here like so. I'm trying to avoid the middle piece, and I'm going to put a yellow centre in there. A bit more concentrated. Okay, just in there like so. Who else loves watercolouring? Yellow matches my top. Yes, this was one. It's a nice colour top, and I was thinking I've got a plain yellow t-shirt in this one. It's like a lime greeny yellow, and I was going to take it on holiday, but yeah, I wore the wrong one today, so I'm not going to get it washed and dried in time. So we'll go without, unless I take it and wash it there. We have got a washing machine in the apartment. Okay, so I think we're virtually done on those. Now I'm going to come back in with some of the yellow. If you wanted to, you could heat gun this. These yellows now are well dry because I've left them alone for quite a while. So turn this round again. I'm going to pick some of this up, loosen that out, and then pick up some of the darker colour. And I'm going to add some more layers on here. So we can pick this up. No more water, but just put some of those layers coming through that flower. So you're actually painting the areas as stamped. Can I zoom in a bit? Of course I can. There we go. Just to put the accents on there, really. So I'm just painting in these areas. Can you see those ones are a bit darker? A bit more. That's better. So I'm just painting these ones in here. So I'm just bringing a few of the layers. As the rose petals all come into the centre, it's going to be a little bit tighter, so it's more concentrated colour. So I tend to work to these areas. Excuse me. Whereas the first wet down is water, and then I float the light colour on it. I then build up the darker layers. On the dry surface, you must wait for it to dry again. But those crowns of the middle of that rose, they are going to be tighter, so darker in colour. Okay, but you can apply your colour wherever you like. You get variegated roses. I've got a lovely one in the garden that's like a yellow and red together. It's really pretty. Our garden it's not had a lot of attention. Our cash has had to go into the necessities of the property, and then we're hoping by next year we might be able to get to the garden and spend some money on that. So just wherever your eye would like to put some extra darkness. Okay, a little bit of light and dark and light and shade. I'll do this one here. How does that look? So can you see how that is just jumping to light wherever you'd like to put that concentrated? I'm going to wet that slightly, and I'm going to pick some concentrated yellow. I want the yellow at the middle of these flowers to be yellow. So I'm just going to put a little stipple of the brush in there. A little stipple of the brush in there. It just brings that back in slightly. This one I think I went too heavy, but I'm going to bring that into the centre. It's a muted one. really concentrated in the middles of those. How is that looking? Okay, we're kind of getting there, aren't we? You see that? So then from a distance, I mean, you've seen that big on the screen now. It looks totally different, doesn't it? Okay, perfect. Oh, Helen, I thought you were going to bed. Hello. You've had a snooze and back again. So yeah, so this was another quick carrying on from the other night, really, with the watercolouring. So that kind of like, but this is the making any colour. So you've got the base here I put down with the basic grey, okay, on the Stamparatas, and then the Versamark over the top with the clear embossing powder, exactly the same position. So it will actually waterproof that ink, and it will make it a little bit raised like embossing does. I think some of this up here didn't quite take, but certainly around the edges we've got some really nice shininess going on there. And then we will leave it at that for now, and I will clean my brush. My water's got to go back in my packing, so they're over there. We'll pop that to one side, and then we're going to get the dies out from the case. Yeah. Beautiful. Oh, thanks, Shaz. You know me, I do love watercolouring. I grew up with watercolouring way before I joined Stampin' Up. Oh, this is really stuck down to the... Helen. I'm really stuck down onto the mat and I can't get it off. There's tape. Get that one off. I think it's because when they're die cut, they can go curly. If your plates are curly, it can make the die curly. So we're trying to straighten those out. And take that off. Use that. So yeah, they're slightly curly on there. So I'm going to take that one on here. I'm going to turn this over. And which way am I going? That is that way. Onto here. Like so. We can get that one down. Now what I do want to tell you is to just bring this out a little bit. Sorry, Rhonda. Get a little bit more of an image. I want to cut the shape out, but I want to rough cut round this so I don't waste the watercolour paper. If you were to run the whole piece through, you would get all the scratchiness off your plate onto here, and it wouldn't be very nice to use again. So that's just going to go straight back into my box, and that will get used again. So let me just grab the machine and some cardstock. I've got Daffodils Light, I've got Basic White, Misty Moonlight, and a cutting machine. The one thing you do need to do is to make sure that you don't go and place anything on top of your ink pad, this piece here, where I've got the grid paper laminated with the inks on. That could be left out somewhere safe to dry, and you can let that dry, and then we've only got one plate. Let me just grab the other one. Yeah, you can leave that safe to dry somewhere, and then you can use that to cut another time. I think this one's getting a little bit worse for wear already. That didn't last long, did it? So I'm going to place this on my mat. This is why it will get curly. So by doing it this way, Helen, I think we might help to straighten it. So let's just, because it's curled upwards and the die's going over, let's try and see whether we can get that back. So I'm going to grab that tape that I've buried under here and place that where I can grab the die and the paper together. There, and we might need another piece or so. Only because it's a bendy die, it's curly. We just want to make sure it's accurate. Okay, let's try that one. Plate on top. Oh, sorry, if you want to come out again now. You're not seeing much at all, are you, with the big shot there? The machine, cut machine. few times through in the opposite direction. I'm sure that we'll get that flat again. Okay. Let's just lift this off where the tape is. I use the Scotch tape on here. You hear people using washi tape, but some of the washi tapes I've had can be quite severe. They can be quite tacky, whereas this one, it can peel a little bit of the paper, but in most cases it works a treat, and you can take it off and reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. So I like things like that. Okay, so there is my image on there like so. I think that slipped slightly because it's bent. Anyway, let's have a go at making the card up. So I have got here, I've got some thick white card. Got any bases? Yeah, I've got a base in the back there. Okay, let's see what. Ooh, do that one. Just looking for some of my nice pretty papers here. Got anything in the yellows, have I? This one in here. Oh, this is a zinnia, flowering zinnias papers here, but the back of this is a nice peachy polka dot. They've used one in the catalogue that's a bit peachy, and I think that might look quite nice on there actually to go with those colours. So let's try that one. So let's cut a layer on here. This looks like it's been cut before, so I just need to do a bit of jiggery pokery around here. It's been tried to make into something before, so I've got a good area here. I just need to take off these creased edges, take those off, little pieces, and I'll cut that out of the way in a sec. So I want this to be a card front size, so I want it to be a layer on here. So I'm going to come down about 1 centimetre, so 14.8, I'll go 13.8. And there, and I'll go this way. I will do 1 centimetre off, so I'll go 9.5. Just make sure that's all nice and smooth. Yes, it is. So that could sit on there really lovely. Then we can put I'm going to knock that out though. You can put this one coming on here. These are subtle colours, so whereas the Stampin' Blends would be nice concentrated colours, they're really sharp, and the watercolour pencils will be softer still. So you have different ways of colouring depending on how you like your finished item to be. But I wanted to do this one today, and then I'll do the masks when I come back. Okay, so this is going to be a landscape card. Okay, and I'm going to place this one on here, but I am going to put this so it's slightly coming off the card like so. So I don't mind. I like to break these edges so it's hanging over. It's on purpose because it just makes it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to get the Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to get a little bit of the the Misty Moonlight, sorry, we had. I'm going to get some of this, and I'm going to stamp our sentiment. So just get the Dimensionals and some bling. Maybe some twine. Dimensionals, gems, and twine. This is why I like having all my things in caddies. Look at this. It just makes things easier to find, easier to get to. You know exactly where they are. So, bits and edges, minis, standards. There we go. And tweezers. Now, Jane will probably watch on replay. I don't think she's on here today. But we also had a conversation today about the tweezers that I use. There's a little hole in here, and Stampin' Up have had brads before. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see there's a drawing pin coming out just there where my finger is? And that's so that you can pierce a hole in your card, like so. Wherever you want to adhere something down, pierce it, and it's flattening the card and protecting it so it doesn't duke and make a little dent in it. It gives you the most perfect hole to put the brad through, to put your layers together, then open out the legs on the back. So good, really good tool. And she said she never knew that was what it was for. So that was a lesson learnt today with one of my customers. her husband was helping me. I've put some new frames up on the wall, and looking forward to filling those when I get back. Lots of interesting things coming up. Oh, there we go, and one there. So that's just a good few there. Stick them in the pot and turn that over. So we have got this one coming on here like so. So like I say, I want some of those edges to come off there. I like to break those edges like top and bottom. So we're going to have that top corner coming off. We're going to have this one coming off. So it's raised, you can see that there's a gap underneath, so it just offsets it and lifts it a little bit. So then we're going to go back to our embossing. I don't know what greeting I'm going to have on here. Where's the stamp set? Happy anniversary, or you make my heart smile. That's quite nice. So let's just dig that one out. There we go. I have a block here from the other night. So I'm going to pick this one up. Just make it, let it relax on your glass mat or your work surface, so that you know it's taken its own shape. I haven't got my dust buddy with me today, so we're just going to have to fingers crossed. And silver, copper, black. We haven't got white here. Gold. That's a real shame. So what colour do we think is going to go? Which of the metallics? I think silver maybe. We've got black, gold, copper, and it's both coppers and clear. We had the white here somewhere, but that must be elsewhere. So I'm going to pop this one on here. I'm going to use the Versamark. Certain rules I have. Silver I like with blues, with purples and certain colours, and sometimes golds go with the oranges and the regally type colours. Gold looks good, but I like the blues and lilacs to have silver. So let's just hope. We're going to sprinkle that on there and find my mat. We have done a long one tonight, haven't we? Been lots of things going on. This is my silver sheet, so I'm going to tip that on there. The reason I have separate sheets is so that you don't contaminate the powder from one. Any little particles that are left on here, they don't contaminate other colours. So you don't get whites, flecks in your black and things like that. Okay, that looks nice and clear to me. So I'm going to tip that back in there. Put the lid back on. And I'll just use a heat gun a little bit. Sorry, Jane, which bit didn't you know? Just going to heat this the same way as I did before. Wait for it to get hot and melt. There we go. You can see it as if by magic under the camera. It's just going all the way along. Yeah, a little bit more that end. We have to heat it just enough to be able to melt the powder but not overcook it. It is possible to overcook embossing powders, and it's also possible for them to go out of date. There is no like shelf life on them, but if you ever get to a point whereby they're really dull, you can't get a good finish, and it goes glossy like this, or it just stays, or goes glossy and then goes dull and lifeless, then that means you've overcooked it. Yes, I know, Jane. You learnt that one today, didn't you? We had some brads I'd got out on the table, and I just explained to Jane how she can actually use the tweezers to be able to make the hole in the middle there. So it made it nice and even and neat, very neat. Okay, so I'm going to just, oh, that's a bit lopsided. I didn't get my straightness very good on there. So let's try that again. I've got all the letters here lining up on the inside. That should be better, as long as I now do this one parallel the other way. And I'm just going to remind you another tip. I might have put them away. If you've got a little tiny piece like this and you can't hold it, then grab your post-it notes and stick that underneath. Stick your strip to the post-it note, and that gives you a longer handle leverage. Okay, I'm pretty good steady-handed, so we're going to go with this one today. Take a little bit off that end and the same kind of measurement this end. Okay, and then there's my greeting. So then we're going to snip this. I'm going to put this all in one go like so. I know they've done it in 2 sections on there, probably because they might have stamped it twice, I'm not sure. They've got a bigger gap each end, so I should imagine they've done that twice. Okay, so just snip that one out, pull those out of the middle, and then the same this end. You know I like my little flag ends. One in there, and one in there. Get those out of the way. And then we could pop this coming through here like so. Just the blue comes from here, just comes through on that card. I just love how the Stampin' Up! Artists have put that together. It's really good. Now I'm going to put some of the little dimensionals, the baby ones. I'm going to put on anything that is hanging over the end. I'm going to put Tombow along here, and I'm going to put a couple on the end here, just of the little diddy ones. So it's staying at one level all the way across, but this is going to overhang. We don't want it dipping down. I'm not vacuuming again before I go, so Julie, you've got some dimensionals on the floor. So we're going to go along here, like so. Remove those 2 backings. So these are going to overhang off here somewhere, wherever I want to place that. There we go. And I can't have it without bling. I've got to have some bling on there. So let's find where I stuck the gems. Yeah. And I've also, oh, that's a bit like going to do in the silver, because I have some twine in here. Now, because we use the grey granite and the basic grey underneath, we could go for something like that. We have white here. White always looks nice with a white card. But I do have silver in there as well I could use. And then some gems there. So we'll tie a little bow with this first. It's got a tiny piece left on the spool, so I've made another little skein of it. So I'm just going to do a bunny's ear there, crisp them over, and then pull that tight, like so. Pull that down. We're nearly there, honest, I promise. Oh, bless you. Thanks, Rhonda. Trim the tails. Put that back. There we go. Now, because this is really tiny, I will actually place this on a tiny dot of Tombow. I often use the glue dots wound up, but sometimes when it's like this, it's a really fine thread. All it needs is a tiny little dot. So I'm going to use the tiniest of little dots just there of Tombow. Okay, I'm going to place this over the top. I'm going to hold it down for a few seconds. Okay, while I find some gems. A couple of little ones there. My little ones are the favourites I go to all the time. So I do run out of those a little bit. And let's just go under here. Pull that out. There we have small ones. So I can hold that, while I'm holding that still down, I can put just some of these randomly on there. One there, one down the bottom, and then one kind of over there somewhere. Oops, go down. There we go. And if I now let go of that, that will have held. All that was the tiniest drop of Tombow. Okay, so I can bring you back in a bit now. Look, you can see. Leave you with a neat screen a little bit. Okay, so there's my finished card. So we've got the watercolouring done. We've got the baker's twine here, some random dots on there, but we've watercoloured it. So you've learnt a technique to colour anything with clear embossing powder. You can colour it to any shade that you wish. Okay, so I hope you liked that one tonight. Okay, sorry it's run on a little bit longer. Let me get you back to me. Take that over. There we go. So thanks for joining me. And just to remind you that the last, I just had a new team member again signed up again today. And she's taken advantage of the offer while it's on. So you're actually getting well over £200 worth of product for just £99. So if you are interested, then do get in touch, and I will post the link up for you so you know how to grab that offer. It's usually £130 for £99, but you're still choosing £130 of your own choice. And the lady today got it spot on, 130. I love it when they do that. And then you get an extra £78.25 of the In Colour collection on there as well. So it's really good value and a cracking offer if you wish to take part in that. Okay, so I'll post that again, and I will I will be off. I will not be live on Sunday. Sunday is actually my 60th birthday, so we will be out that evening. So I won't catch you on Sunday, but I will pop up during my time away. Okay, so rest assured I will. So I will catch up with you sometime, and I am taking one of the kits with me as well. Okay, so thanks for all your lovely wishes. I've been so excited about this for like over a year, 14 months or so, 15 months. It's been in the running, so it's good. Thanks, Rhonda. Thanks, Jane. Lovely you could join us. And yes, take care, and I will see you soon. There will be other posts coming up while I'm away as well, so you'll see those.